Just have to take a quick second to thank our sponsors, Yellow Dog Paddle, Eddie Mackin's Rippin' Lips Fishing Trips, NJFishing.com, 8 Ball Sportfishing, and The Gambler. Episode number 157 of the NJ Multi-Species Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Santiago, and Mr. Kevin Glenn is here. Kim is actually, she got a phone call to go chase giant bluefin tuna inshore, and she got one. So hopefully she'll be phoning in from the ocean with her tuna fish. But Kevin, how are you? Welcome to the podcast. Why is this computer exploding? That totally glitched out. I didn't hear anything you said.
I'm back on. All right, we're good.
Seems good.
Yeah, you're good. So yeah, a huge episode tonight. Rewild's coming back on for the second time. We have a huge announcement to make with the Gambler. Jerry Hicks may also stop in with another huge announcement. We weren't on the air last week because I was sick. I was sick as hell for a week, so I missed everything. Also, Fast Eddie's fundraiser is up in Mayhem, so if you want a chance to win a Yeti cooler, that fundraiser is up. Wheel spins on Thursday night. A bunch of people are getting in on that. Saltwater report, Kevin. We fished the Jersey Coast Shark Anglers. I think it's called Fluke Fever, and we had a hell of a day.
Fluke Fever. Yep, Fluke Fever. Big day. It takes a lot to actually get me out on the salt.
Yeah, but you went. We had a great time. Me, Dom, Kim, and Jen. 5-man squad. We had a great bite window. Launched at 5 a.m. We were actually had some decent action on the Fluke until the south winds kicked in horrendously. Dom had to put the rod down and power grip. And anytime he stopped power gripping, he would get snagged immediately. So we called it about 11 o'clock, I think. We headed into the river and just hung out at the bar and waited for the weigh-ins and the dinner that was after the weigh-ins. But yeah, really, we had a fun day. I mean, we laughed all day long, and the fishing was good. We had 6 keepers by the time we went in, tons of short life, and I really enjoyed it. Kevin, I know you don't go saltwater fishing that much, and you don't like to go for small fish, but you seem to have a lot of fun. Now you're talking about buying setups.
Well, that's the first time I've gone fluke fishing in the ocean. I've grown up my whole life doing it in the bay with my grandfather, but you're in 10 foot of water at most where we're at the Barnegat Bay. Much lighter tackle. So it's a completely different ballgame doing that, but out in the ocean, that was a lot of fun. I've never done it before. I'm willing to try anything at least one time. I'll probably find myself back out there when I can't do it that again.
Yeah, and then the afterwards was also fun. Docking the boat at the bar, having lunch. Really fun day, 8 ball, awesome boat, awesome crew. Dom and Kim are just amazing. Can't wait to go back. Saltwater fishing-wise, like I said, we had a lot of short life and we had some nice fish in the box. Captain Chris Lido from the Gambler, he says at night, the night fishing continues to be really on fire. They're wreck fishing for bluefish, ling, the squid fishing is really good. He said there's a lot of cow-nose rays and brown sharks around on the night trips, but he said decent fluke action all day on the 3 trips. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, they're running 3 trips a day. He said the fluke action's picked up tremendously since the water's warmed up. And yeah, we can attest that. So the fluke fishing is really good. So the Gambler, you can definitely jump on the Gambler any day you want. So fluke.
Yeah, I know my uncle was talking about going on the Gambler down there next weekend. He lives not too far from there. He's a big fan of hopping on that boat. Also, he's been on that boat probably longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, you gotta love the Gambler. I mean, it is great. Chris Leo's great. The Bowmans are great. It's a great family-run business. Love the Gambler. So call the Gambler and go on the Gambler. We have a message later involved in the Gambler. I'll be announcing that later. I don't want to say it now because then you'll get off. I have to keep you on to watch. That's my job. like I said, Kim last minute today got a phone call, so she went running out of work to go chase ghost bluefin tuna, and she actually just sent me a picture of one. So hopefully she'll be calling in, and I hope to God she got that fish on video, or I'm going to be so pissed off. She better have filmed it.
Yeah, Joe, it's just not something that happens to me in my everyday life, that I'm sitting at work and just get a call like, hey, we have an emergency to do a fishing trip that I can go on. I don't know.
I think it's a
Does
norm.
that happen to other people? Is that supposed to be normal?
It seems like for Dom and Kim, it's a norm that they just get a phone call and go. Dom went out this morning. He went all the way out to the canyon for yellowfin, and I saw pictures of him with tuna too. So apparently a very big day for 8-ball, offshore and inshore. Kim's inshore, Dom's offshore, and they both have tuna fish on board. That's awesome. Multi-species mayhem. Tonight's guest, let me put the guest, it's Francesca again from Rewild. She was on here once, and she had so much to say that we ran out of time, so we promised her she'd come back. Today's the day. She is coming back. She'll be here in about 10 minutes. We'll talk about Rewild. And like I said, Fast Eddie's fundraiser for the walk. He's doing a walk that raises money for suicide awareness. Unfortunately, Fast Eddie's had a lot of that go on in his family, so a lot of people have donated to it. You get to wheel spin to try to win a Yeti cooler. Anyone that can participate in that's greatly appreciated. It's up in multi-species mayhem right now. But yeah, multi-species mayhem. Tizzy Cregan is still holding the lead in the saltwater division, but only by 1 point. That's because Mike McMahon entered a sea bass. He scored a sea bass. It got him within 1 point of Tizzy. Let me just pull it up here. Yeah, they're tied now. They both have 17. Chuck Manning has 11. Joe Albanese has 7, and Eric Fissler has 5. That's your top 5 in saltwater. In freshwater, the
does go to Tizzy.
Tizzy does have the tiebreaker. Yeah,
Tizzy
so
does
Tizzy
have the
is still in
tiebreaker.
first place. Yeah, Tizzy is still in first place. Tizzy, you have to get a striper. Well, I know you're probably waiting for the fall. You have to do it. You have to go after a striper this fall. You need to strike bass. You already got the harder fish to get. Jerry Zagorski is here. Shout out to Jerry Zagorski. He went up to Nantucket and posted some amazing pictures of some giant fluke. He had a 3-day trip. I think the first day got blown out, but then the next 2, looks like he killed them. And he killed big fish. I mean, they got really nice fish. So hats off to Jerry on a great trip. Jerry drove up yet?
Jerry drove up to my house and stopped by, picked up that kayak from Lard Almighty today.
Did he really? Did he say anything about the fishing trip?
I didn't see him. I was at work, but he scooted in and out, got that kayak for his grandson. So should look forward to some pictures and a trip or two from that soon.
That's really the best way to do it, is to do it without seeing you. So he did it the smart way. But yeah, really nice fish for Jerry. I'm really happy for him. Those were beautiful pictures he got too. Looked like an awesome trip. Freshwater, the biggest change is Eric Fissler. Eric Fissler went on a crazy run, got a couple of beautiful freshwater striped bass. I believe he entered the first place freshwater striped bass, which was worth 5 points, and he put in a giant channel catfish. When he caught the giant channel catfish, his identifier was left at the striper spot. So what he did was take a napkin and he actually ripped it into shreds and put it on the ground in the shape of NJ26. And it was accepted because it's legally
that
identifier.
was a fine work of art.
So Eric Fissler has now moved. Eric has now moved into the top 10, and he is dangerous. Chuck Manny remains in the lead with 51 points. Dwayne Squatchman is now in second place with 29 points. Bob Darling got bumped to third with 28. I guess Bob Darling lost points on the stripe. I don't know where Bob lost. I lost points on Fissler's striper, too. But obviously, Bob Darling lost a point or two somewhere. Katie Skolsky, fourth place, 26 points. And Greg Wojcik has climbed up the chart pretty fast to fifth place with 23 points. So freshwater has flip-flopped a lot this past week or two. A lot of flip-flopping in freshwater. The Fin Seeker is still right there in eighth place. Joe Satowski is in ninth place. Very dangerous. Him and Tim are tied for eighth. So yeah, I mean, a lot of action in Mayhem. I think Jen Wong entered a Fluke off the 8-ball trip, 21 inches, third place. That was 3 points. So yeah, a lot of changes in multi-species Mayhem.
You know what I have to say about multi-species Mayhem, Joe?
Go ahead.
This time last year, I was still DQing fish 5 to 10 times a week and getting hate mail, but everyone's actually getting significantly better with it. It's pretty rare that I have to DQ or even make an adjustment at this point.
It is the learning curve. There's definitely a learning curve to entering the fish perfectly without getting a problem. You can't cover the fish's eye. You have to be able to see the identifier clearly. I've lost fish because my forearm was covering half the identifier, which sucked. But yeah, it does happen.
I did just have to deny a 2,725-inch fish. You got to remember your decimal points.
And I saw Chuck Manny entered like a 6-foot shark in the sunfish thing. I guess that was just the best.
Yeah, that was the biggest sunfish we'd had in the tournament yet.
Chuck,
I think it sat on the leaderboard over the weekend too, because I was out all day fishing with Kim, Dom, and Jen, so I didn't see it sitting there.
Yeah, me neither. Yellow Dog Paddle continues to beat up the fish on Round Valley. They're also doing more of their paddling trips. Oh, the guest is saying I didn't send her the link. Did I really not do that? Wow. Shocked. But yeah, Yellow Dog Paddle continuing to beat up the fish on Round Valley with the trolling. Also offering his lessons if you want to learn how to set up your own boat to fish like he does. He offers the lessons where he will show you how to set the whole boat up. Also advertising their next paddle trip where they get a bunch of people in kayaks and do moonlight paddles. I think they're all in either the full moon or the new moon. We posted some pictures of that stuff. We posted pictures of, I believe it was a lake trout. Yeah, that Yellow Dog sent. He's also still doing the sponsor a trip where you can sponsor a trip for a veteran or an injured or elderly person or anyone you want, really, just as a surprise. So check out yellowdogpaddle.com if you want to fish Round Valley. The fishing's been really productive there. The bait there has become gigantic, and they seem to be thriving. Hopefully that it all holds together and takes, because the lake really has changed a lot.
I really need to get my boat out there and just bass fish on Round Valley. It's been probably 15 years since I've gone and tried to do that, and all I hear are good reports on it.
Chuck said, stop stepping on Kevin. Am I stepping on Kevin? Jerry Zagorski said, thank you, and thank you, Lard, for the kayak. Chuck May said there's a lot of different types of flounder. Katie Lynn said, interesting. Now she's talking about SpongeBob SquarePants. But yeah, anyway, call Yellow Dog Paddle. Okay, Francesca Mundrick from Rewild is ready to come in. We're going to get her in here. We will be back in 1 minute with her. And then after she leaves, we have a ton of announcements to make. We're all here, Tizzy. Don't worry. We just talked about how you are tied in first place, but you have the tiebreaker. I see Katie Lynn's comment. She just recently learned that a fluke and flounder are the same. That's actually not true. A fluke would be a summer flounder, and a flounder would be a winter flounder. They're two different fish. A winter flounder get much smaller. Our guest is here. Professor from Rowan University, making her second appearance on the podcast, Francesca Mundrick, the founder of Rewild. Welcome back to the NJ Multi-Species Podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Definitely excited to be back.
You had so much information on the last episode, which you could find on YouTube. We ran out of time, so we promised that we'd have you back, and here we are. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back for my second installment.
And you are the founder of Rewild New Jersey, which was mostly explained in the first episode what Rewild actually is. And I think in this episode, you're going to steer it in a little bit of a different direction where you're actually going to talk about what Rewild does and believes in.
Yeah. So Rewild New Jersey is kind of like my foundational work. It is really honestly a community. We're building a thought culture around the philosophy that we live within a challenging modern time, right? There's all this advancement with technology. We live in a very globalized time. There's lots of transitionings and transition and changing going on in the world. And so Rewild New Jersey is kind of like a commentary on society where your reconnection back to local nature. So connecting back to local nature, restoring local nature, and practicing life ways that make you more self-sufficient and resilient is the pathway to kind of counterbalance the challenges that we face in the modern world. So Rewild New Jersey brings people together with some of those ideas in mind. We offer programs about what community rewilding looks like in urban, suburban, and rural communities. And we obviously offer resources for people to both do the action of conservation rewilding, which is, again, restoring nature and habitat spaces in local communities. And then the flip side is helping people to contribute to human rewilding, which means that we are helping people access resources, organizations, businesses, and opportunities like yourselves, right? Like NJ Multi-Species, to be practicing life ways that are more resilient and self-sufficient. So that means, to me, bushcraft, composting, beekeeping, hunting, fishing, anything that connects us back to local resources. Foraging is kind of a big community in that regard. So all of those things and all of those people exist within Rewild New Jersey. A big thing for me, offshooting with my experiences with rewilding, is the need for us to really think tank and understand better that our relationship with nature is more about society than it is about ecology. What do I mean by that? Environmentalism as a term, to me, has become really weaponized. It's politically motivated. It's economically motivated. There's people in different camps who define what that word means. And I think that what is emerging is that we're all coming together and realizing that nature is none of those things. Our connection to nature is none of those things. And so I've gotten heavily involved in environmental advocacy, trying to help redefine environmentalism for the future. And what that looks like for me is helping politically, making more nonpartisanship in our environmental policies, and bringing down environmental initiatives to the local level. Does that make sense to you guys as far as like what I'm saying?
I have two comments for that, and I think Kevin might agree with me. As a fisherman and a hunter, I have been taught my entire life that environmentalists are basically our enemy. We consider ourselves conservationists. An environmentalist would be considered a tree hugger, basically. But I also find it fascinating how when you talk about the outdoors and rewild and you want to get people back involved, it pops right in my head, fishing and hunting. But you say beekeeping, that fascinates me. I would never even think of that being a part of this. Beekeeping, bushcraft. I mean, trapping. There's all these other facets to this rewilding. I'm fascinated with the beekeeping thing.
Yeah, and I think the thing I'm getting at is that rewilding encompasses all communities and all people. It's very hopeful. It's very forward thinking, and what it does is reorients the power and how we visualize our relationship with the environment back on the people. So when I think about things more like holistically or bigger picture, what we have to realize is that our nature and our resources are being poached, right? Like everything is privatized, everything is corporatized. In the global system, things are so macro, and it's removing us from our right and our connection to our local nature and our local spaces, and that means that we have less resources. So on top of that, the fact that we have less resources due to all those factors, we also have less skills, right? Like over the generations, because of advancement in certain parts of society and the enhancement of comfort and convenience, we have been removed from knowing how to live effectively on our own and be more independent. And so to me, in the rewilding community, hunting and fishing are life ways and choices in which we are more resilient. You can take care of yourself by understanding how to do those skills. I feel like you're correct about how the environmental community has viewed these activities over time. There's like a perception that hunting and fishing is just for sport, but really these things have been practiced by humans since the beginning of time, right? Like these things have been practiced by humans forever. And so they're skills that are worthy to know for sure. So I lump all the different communities into Rewild New Jersey: indigenous people, permaculturalists, bushcrafters, hunters, fishermen, all different types within Rewild New Jersey are welcome. I also meant to share with you, though, more of this, not necessarily a political angle, but how things are changing nationally and for New Jersey in regards to the environment and how we access it. I have learned that there's a progressive environmental camp that's really set upon diversifying clean energies and environmentalism in the global context. And then there's conservative environmentalism, and conservative environmentalism is a totally different think tank. So in conservative environmentalism, we have what is it? I'll tell you what it is. It's essentially taking free market, America first ideas and applying them to how we address environmental problems. So it's a interjecting conservative thinkers back into the environmental sphere and offering a conservative voice to add to environmental decision making and solutions. The priorities for the conservative environmentalists have to do with energy, which they're mainly backing nuclear as the future of energy resources, agriculture and ranch reform, so better systems and more ecologically based or safer, cleaner farming and ranching techniques, as well as incentives for farmers and ranchers. And then sportsmen's rights, which would impact the hunting and fishing community, is a big sector within conservative environmental thought. And that has to do with directly how we access resources locally, like I was saying. So I think the last big sector for conservatives is going to be management styles. So this idea of mixing preservationist culture and conservationist culture and how we manage forestry and wildlife in protected areas. I would think that those priorities that I listed are going to be the main ones for conservative environmental groups. This matters because environmental used to be nonpartisan. It wasn't as weaponized, politicized, and economic as it is now. So environmental decision-making was a net good for most of our modern history. But due to the fact that it's become so partisan, what has emerged is that young conservatives mainly are reestablishing this think tank in conservative environmental thought. And they are pushing for the parties at the national level as well as the state level to be more transparent about environmental policies and more partisan about them. Which I think is interesting. So this is something that's catching speed and is definitely applicable to New Jersey.
I want to take it does. I want to take Tizzy Cregan's comment here because it was good, but I lost it. He said conservationists and environmentalists could be powerful as hell if teamed up as activists. They are more in step than politics allows one to see.
Oh, absolutely. I went to college and studied environmental science. And out of college, I spent a few years working with the Nature Conservancy and the MWA. If you're from Asbury, that's the Musconetcong Watershed Association. And this was all closer to 20 years ago at this point. So as Francesca was saying, it wasn't as heavily political. So you had both sides of what we would call today's parties working together because they need to then going to allow me to hunt that. And that was the way we were working together when I was with those organizations. And it's sad to see that line start to break between the parties. And we need to work to break that wall back.
Yeah, and I think it's very possible. And the fact that these movements are happening is telling that the younger generations are starting to morph the political priorities or reform them, rather, the parties and how they look at this stuff. I think the bigger thing, though, that the commentator noted is that we've been tricked out of our relationship with nature. We have been removed from it, and we have been divided into camps on all social fronts, divided and conquered with some of these things, right? And nature is one of the biggest ones. We've been divided and conquered on how we look at nature. We live every day within local communities, and that's the daily interactions that we have. It's important for us to be unified in protecting the resources that we have against the bigger forms of control that exist around us. I'm more of like a libertarian kind of like, I'm giving you kind of like an anarchical kind of vibe with some of that. But that's how I see it. The corporations, we're getting heavily corporatized, heavily privatized. The land use is changing heavily. In New Jersey, we interact with those factors more than anywhere else. So we have to think, like, if we don't come together, we're going to lose all of our resources. We're being divided and conquered, I think, on purpose. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, it's absolutely a political stunt that they're intentionally driving the divisive wedge between us.
So where does Rewild stand on like really controversial topics like offshore wind? I mean, offshore wind is one of the most controversial topics in the fishing community right now.
Yeah. So I am not. Rewild New Jersey so far has been about teaching and resources and building community members. As the community grows, I will get into advocacy and be more a part of advocacy in the realm of being for or against topics. I can tell you that in the conservative environmental think tank, well, I'll give you a little bit of more national background first, and then we'll focus.
I can't believe she's using conservative and environmentalist in the same word. It's like I can't believe it's in the same sentence.
Well, this is good because we're breaking down stereotypes thinking about this. So I'll give you a little bit more national background, and then we'll whittle in on New Jersey a little bit regarding like some of those big topics like wind. First of all, conservatives really invented American environmentalism. What do I mean by that? Teddy Roosevelt was known as the conservation president. He was an expert, excellent outdoorsman. He has a storied life, committed to America, and was definitely known as like a rough and tumble guy, very experienced. So Teddy Roosevelt was a very interesting figure. He comes along in the early 1900s, and he actually establishes what we know of as conservation and the concept of protected areas in the country. The first national park, the first federally owned land was Yellowstone National Park. This happened in the mid-1800s. A couple of scientists from UPenn went out west. They found that the lands of Yellowstone National Park, they were absolutely amazed by the beauty of the land and the uniqueness, and they actually established it as the first national park to protect it. Teddy Roosevelt comes along and he expands this idea of federally protected areas. He actually creates the framework for presidents to be able to conserve land, expands the federally protected land resources within the Bureau of Land Management. He creates the Forest Service. He develops or founds many national parks, national monuments, national parks, Forest Service sites, etc. So he defines what it means to have public lands. And he institutes, I'm going to be honest, kind of like a socialist approach to conservation. He comes in and he breaks up corporate monopolies. He minimizes the impacts, or he starts to minimize or create controls for the impacts of the Industrial Revolution. And he says, look, it's great that we're expanding. It's great that we're growing as a nation. We have all of these great resources. But if we don't have controls around how we use resources and we don't apply management, we won't have any resources left for the next generations. So he gets these ideas of sustainability from his peers and from traveling the country out west, meeting indigenous people and philosophers and all types of minds. And he develops the idea for what America's protected lands are going to be. So he was the first conservationist. He was the first American conservationist, and he's like the poster child for conservative enviro. Beyond him, though, many other conservatives have established environmental protections. Namely, I think Richard Nixon would probably be the best example, establishing the EPA and the Clean Air and Water Act. And there's a few others. Newt Gingrich was a really big environmentalist and teacher. And there's a few others that I'm blanking on. I think where it gets politicized, though, was Al Gore. Al Gore comes on the scene with Inconvenient Truth. They added into political platforming, and then environmentalism somehow became partisan, and some people are tree huggers and some people aren't. Right? So it's like this weird perception happened in the 2000s. So in the now, reinvigorating this is super important because it's breaking down barriers that don't need to be there. And it's focusing on key issues nationally and statewide that we really need fixed. For New Jersey, I feel like a couple of the biggest things in New Jersey impact the fishing and hunting community directly. The energy diversification, so clean energies like wind, and I would say land use, the AI data centers, the warehouses, and affordable housing are going to be probably the hottest issues that I've seen traveling to towns to speak about this stuff.
I have heard
that sentiment?
I have heard that the amount of water that it takes to cool these AI whatever data centers is just astronomically insane. And I know that's going to be a huge hot topic. But then I also heard recently someone invented something where they're going to be able to recycle the used water or something like that, where it won't be as bad. So they're working on ideas. But I do want to bounce back real quick to your Teddy Roosevelt story, because I've read a lot of books on Teddy Roosevelt, because I really do admire what he did. And yes, Kevin, I do read. It was always Teddy Roosevelt's dream to hunt a buffalo. He wanted to hunt a buffalo. He really wanted to get one. He finally did actually go out west and get a buffalo. When he shot the buffalo, he got it, and he did this war dance around the buffalo. Like, he danced like an Indian. Roosevelt was kind of a savage in the woods. He did an actual Indian war dance around the buffalo. And really celebrated getting this buffalo. Years later, he returned back to the west to hunt a second buffalo. When he went back for the second time, he said you could not see a live buffalo anywhere, but you couldn't look more than 50 yards without seeing a dead buffalo on the ground.
I know what it is.
Well, I think he saw firsthand with the buffalo. He saw them literally get eradicated right before his eyes and saw the resource destroyed.
So this is a good commentary on the fact that it's great that the government owns land and that we have public land, and we pay tax dollars to the government. The government safeguards this land. It's publicly accessible land that we can utilize. And that matters for us because it's federal land. We have state land, right? County land and local land that is considered public, and it's owned or stewarded by the government, which is a wonderful thing. On the flip side, though, the government can sell land and do management styles, right, that maybe we're not in agreement with. We can utilize it for natural resources, or use it for, use, some kind of use. So with that being said, back then, they were fighting to the death to get the indigenous resistance, the tribal communities, mainly the Lakota, individuals like Sitting Bull, were resisting going onto reservations that were instituted by the federal government. So they had the Battle of Little Bighorn, and they defeated the cavalry, the U.S. Army, and the government got pissed, and they were like, we have to eradicate these people. We have to do something to push them into reservation life. We cannot allow them to go free and host this resistance any longer. So the federal government actually hosted the buffalo hunt, the mass buffalo hunt, with the purpose to eradicate 90% of the buffalo so that the indigenous people no longer had food. And that is how they actually defeated the indigenous resistance to perpetuate the manifest destiny.
Is that true? I thought they killed them all to make room for the trains. I thought That's interesting to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't Teddy Roosevelt sign a bill that like a certain amount of acreage in the United States could never be touched? And then he also signed another bill that no other president could ever change the law again, including himself.
Something like that. And he also made laws or the Antiquities Act so that the president could make more federally protected areas. So he made the infrastructure so that there could be maintained conservation and more conservation.
One thing that I do have to say, and Kevin, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but between fishing and hunting, I feel like fishermen are very quiet. A much smaller population hunts. There's way more fishermen than hunters, especially in New Jersey. I think only 2% of New Jersey's population buys a hunting license, but they're able to make a lot of noise, especially politically and in activism and doing. Fishermen seem to just take it. Like they don't seem to make the noise that hunters make. And there's so many more of them, but they seem to sit back and take it. I don't know if you agree with me on that or not.
Yeah, but fishermen are more quiet because if my favorite waterway is the Passaic River, I live walking distance from it. If you tell me I can no longer fish the Passaic, okay, I'm going to go fish the river. That's not super far. And there's so many more options for freshwater fishermen to fish and still catch their favorite species than there is for someone to hunt. A lot of New Jersey hunters are hunting private land. There's there are a lot of lands for us to publicly hunt, but there's so many of us that there's not enough room for all of us on public land. So any acre that you take away, you're making it more crowded, and in seasons like turkey, you're making it more unsafe. So that's why you hear a lot more from the hunters. It's about safety.
And turkeys wouldn't exist without hunters. They don't even belong here. They were extinct basically until hunters reintroduced them back into the population.
Yeah,
right.
most of our nature is completely reintroduced. And if you think back to Teddy Roosevelt's time, during the Industrial Revolution, most of New Jersey, as well as the surrounding states, were actually forested. Between the colonial era and the Industrial Revolution, all of this was wiped out. So most of the nature that we see is regenerated. It's regenerated, and over generations, stuff has been reintroduced by management practices.
So when a person comes to you and says, I want to get involved in Rewild, I want to reconnect with nature, how do you actually make the connection of what they're going to do? Like, how do you steer them towards fishing or hunting or beekeeping or bushcraft? Like, how do you make that choice of which one to steer them towards?
So I think though, my final comment with New Jersey regarding some of the things that we brought up and why this stuff is so important, like why are we even doing any of this stuff? New Jersey is set to be built out, which means that all of the parcels in New Jersey that are all zoned and planned, every parcel of land has a zoning distinction on it. It can be residential, commercial, industrial, farmland, et cetera. They all have units of use on them. Conservation is another one. New Jersey is set to be built out by 2040. That is in the state plan. That is what the environmental community shares. So that means that all of the parcels that are zoned for a specific use will be used for that use by 2040. That's the projection. So that means that with New Jersey's land use changing, obviously those zoning units, they can be changed legally. But let's say that there's a distribution between conservation, ag, commercial, residential zoning, right? With all of those parcels built out, what we have to worry about is that the government might sell off more of our parcels that are for conservation, right, our protected areas, to be used for some of those other uses, like residential and like commercial. This is where especially the AI data centers and the warehouses come into play as a possible threat. It's already a threat as part of the build out because it's taking away mainly farmland. So a lot of the farmland is being changed over. The farmers do not have the economic stability to maintain these farms. They get offered millions of dollars, and then they change their farm into XYZ, and they work with the municipality to change the a zoning and pass it through. There's many groups, environmental groups, that are fighting against those projects, and actually has been a success, a statewide success, that many counties and towns have made ordinances halting those kinds of projects so that we can find some kind of balance between the wants of the citizens and the new emergent, needs of the warehouses and the AI data centers. That includes things like wind. There's a lot of pushing and pulling on wind and other forms of energy and industry that are being implemented. Same thing, groups get together and they fight against these projects because they think that they're unjust, and sometimes they win. So I think that when we're thinking about using either waterways or protected areas for hunting and fishing in general, we have to keep our finger on the pulse on how these things are going, because we may lose the resources. And I do think that the fishermen need to yell and scream when when things get taken away. I'm in advocacy for a few different reasons, but I'm just trying to give you a picture of how it works. Like, does that make sense? This is why we have to be diligent.
Kevin,
Yeah?
I don't want to cut you off because Chuck will yell at me. Chuck says he wants to hear Kevin talk, not me.
Okay.
And Tizzy said fishermen are not as good at rallying as hunters are.
That's absolutely
But, I mean,
true.
you could see the writing. I'm a union construction worker, so I see, and I work in North Jersey. North Jersey's practically built out already. Most of the construction work right now is all in South Jersey. I mean, South Jersey's busy as hell. There's still tons of open land in South Jersey, and that seems to be where they're just starting now to become North Jersey. They're just building everything there.
Yep. South Jersey is 100% the battleground. South Jersey is being urbanized by the day. So parcels are being rezoned and sold, especially farmland, so mainly farmland, bordering some of our protected areas. And so it's transforming the towns and the landscape really quickly, and it's definitely pissing people off. So definitely economic value. We want economic development. We want ratables. We want new things in our locations. But some of this stuff, it's impacting our way of life. And as you said, it uses an immense amount of water, which is true. The AI situation is that AI data centers are not brand new. They've actually been existent for a couple of decades, but they're in smaller form. There's about 68 or so in New Jersey. But the ones that they're establishing now are for AI and advancements in technology, so they're huge. And the way in which they interact with the local resources is not good. So there's a lot of questions, and that's why the projects are being halted. But we just have to worry that more of our protected space is going to be taken away, and we have to worry that we have access to it. To answer your question about Rewild New Jersey, big thing for me is that I just connect people to resources. The main heart of Rewild New Jersey is that I developed a network. So I go around and I collect people who have platforms, organizations, non-for-profits who offer like services and information and events for people to go to. And I basically support them. So in building the Rewild community, like, yes, I have citizens, but I also have other orgs, other professionals, other places where people can get resources. And basically I collaborate with them, and we push people to go to try new things, right? To access the resources and do the actions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just a really fascinating idea. It really is. It blows my mind, especially the beekeeping. I don't know why the beekeeping thing fascinates me so much. Like, I want to be a beekeeper.
I forgot chickens. Chickens are huge. Owning chickens, having eggs is really good.
Yeah, I would like to do that too.
My town just started ordinances on chickens. In Long Hill Township, we're not allowed to have roosters, and we're only allowed 4 hens.
I've heard that, like, having chickens in the back, people with neighbors with chickens report like a lot of rats and mice and rodents coming around because of the chicken feed. But I would love to have I'd love to have chickens and fresh eggs. A couple funny comments. Dave is saying that Kevin is a cardboard cutout that doesn't move. Ryan Poges is saying you're a stoic creature that does nothing. And you're on a popsicle stick right now. There's Jerry Hicks. He'll have to wait a second here.
I mean, one of these days I'll get to have a thought without you interrupting me.
I did not interrupt you. I don't know what Chuck's even talking about. I didn't interrupt anyone.
Chuck
All right,
understands.
Francesca, if someone watching wanted to get involved in Rewild, which I think me and Kim are going to get involved with Rewild on the fishing end, I don't think that date, you have a date coming up of a gathering that you're doing. I don't think we could go to that one because we have an event that day that we were going to invite you guys to come to. I'm going to announce it later on this episode, but I think we are going to come to one of them.
Yeah.
But how does someone that wants to get involved in this get involved in it? How do they find it? How do they contact you? How do they get involved?
Sure. So my website is Rewild, which is REWILD NJCC.org. So that is the actual website to access Rewild New Jersey. You can sign up for our community. You can join the movement or any of the other modes for joining. And in that, you get emails regarding upcoming events. And we host one main thing that's kind of an easy lift that we host. Every 6 weeks or so, I have a community virtual meeting and we feature presenters. So I get people from all over to all different kinds of spaces rather and different backgrounds and things to present to offer information during those meetings. So those are every 6 weeks or so. And that's a great way to kind of join up and watch and listen to what's up. We also have a Facebook page, like a Facebook group. It's I think it's a Rewild New Jersey community group. Yeah, on Facebook. So you can join that, share all of our stuff on that. And the gathering is coming up 8/21 into 8/22. We're going to do a camp out and we're going to do a bunch of activities like bushcraft, hiking, survival skills. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff that weekend. I was going to have you guys, I definitely understand you guys can't come that weekend, but I actually don't have a body of water near me. I tried to coordinate and see if we could do like a fishing activity, but we can't because they don't have, we don't have access to applicable water body to do it. But coming up, we can definitely collaborate on some kind of thing for the fishing community and do something fun.
I know you said there's a possibility we may see you at the Multi-Species Mayhem Pig Roast in September. You may come to that. So that would be cool.
You got to definitely make sure you invite me.
I did. You're invited. September 26th.
You're invited. There's the invite.
You're invited. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Rewild can come to the pig roast. Francesca, I have to thank you for coming on the NJ Multi-Species podcast. I'm sure you're going to be back on it again because this is just endless information and an endless conversation. But, and yeah, the chat's going insane here. I can't even read all of it. But, yeah, definitely we will have you back on, and I have to thank you once again for taking the time to come on here and talk to us. And I really hope to see you at the pig roast and hopefully come to some of our events, and we'd love to come to one of yours.
Yeah. I definitely will come to the pig roast, and if anyone wants an autograph from me, they can.
I'll take an autograph. Sure. You
want to take an autograph?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Pictures of me.
Sure. I love taking pictures with people that were on the podcast, so I'll get a picture with you.
Yeah. And if anybody has questions and they want to talk more about, some of the history I discussed or the political advocacy, you guys can just hit me up via email. My email's all over the website, so it's not like a form. It actually has my email on there, so you can just email me direct.
All right. Awesome. Francesca, like I said, thank you so much, and we will definitely have you back on again. Thank you for taking time out to come on. Kevin, say thank you and be nice.
Thanks a lot, Francesca.
We'll see you at the pig roast.
Don't listen to them.
Thank you, Francesca.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sunburned. Goodbye.
We accept your apology. All right, yeah. So she's just loaded with so much information. Like I didn't even know that was going to go that far back in history. Real quick, I do have to mention Eddie Mackin's Rippin' Lips fishing trips. As usual, Eddie's on fire. As most people know, I don't bullshit. When stuff's shitty, I do tell you it's shitty. Mackin's on fire. He caught a kid his first tiger muskie the other day. The knee deep club torn. You could see the pictures on Instagram and Facebook. It's a beautiful tiger muskie. The kid is just like can't even speak holding the tiger muskie. Also, him and his son. I think Eddie took second in the adult division with a hybrid, and his son took first. I think Eddie's was 7.3 and his son's was 7.1. But yeah, Mackin's on fire still, catching fish in the daylight, something I'm unable to do for some reason. But if you want to fish Lake Apacon, Mackin is the person to call. He's also still doing his pontoon boat trips, so he could take up to a lot of people. I think 6 to 8 people he could fit on the pontoon boat, especially kids. Awesome for kids. So your next Lake Apacon trip, call Eddie Mackin. We know the fishing is going to get really good in the fall. I know right now, but he is on the hybrids right now. Ryan Poges just commented he is top notch. Ryan Poges, I never see you commenting on here. Now you're here because Kevin's here. Like, is Kevin just the draw for you? You came to see the cardboard cutout of Kevin.
I'm an all-star.
Like I said before, if you ordered on Fast Eddie's fundraiser is still up in multi-species mayhem. The big announcement that I was saving for the end, everyone has demanded another gambler trip, and we have finally made it happen. Chris Lido has made it happen. It is August 22nd at 7 p.m. It's a night fishing trip. This is the first night fishing. We do the Mayhem on the Gambler every year, but we've never done it at night. This one's from 7 to midnight. It's a 5-hour trip. It's $85 a person. We're going to try to get food put together for it. And they will be fishing for squid in the lights, which I've never done. They're going to go bottom wreck fishing at night. They're going to go for sharks, and they're going to go after bluefish, which we know everyone needs a nice bluefish for multi-species mayhem. So it is booked. I am going to post it online, but if you're watching this podcast episode, you have your first chance to get tickets, because we know once I post it, these gambler trips sell out very quickly. They do. They sell out very quickly. I don't know. It's very popular. They go so fast. I can't control who buys the tickets online. They are available. Just go to the Gambler's website, Gambler Fishing. You could Google Gambler Fishing Point Pleasant. August 22nd, the night wrecking trip. That's our trip. That is it. So if you get a ticket for $85, you're in. And we will all be there. Kim got tickets already. I got my ticket. Kevin, I think you have a ticket.
Yeah, I actually got tickets. A lot of
people got tickets. So if you're Ryan Poges, get on the website and buy a ticket right now, because once I post it, you're not going to get a ticket. We want to see you there. Tim Brennan has a ticket. I know Scott Howard has a ticket. A bunch of people have tickets already. Tizzy Cregan, I hope that you're able to go. Unfortunately, Tizzy's mother is under the weather currently and not doing that well. So Tizzy's taking care of her mother, but hopefully she has the chance to make it onto the Gambler. Now, real quick, another big announcement that I have to bring up. Back in the episode, I don't remember exactly the number. It was in the 90s. NetTrek. NetTrek has been on the podcast 2 times, and in the last episode that Jerry Hicks, the creator of NetTrek, was on, which you could watch on YouTube in the 90s, I had the idea of I didn't want to buy just one. I didn't want to buy a million nets. I wanted one net that would do everything. And somehow, Jerry Hicks, the mad scientist that he is, he made it come to life. I actually was privileged to get the first prototype of this net, and it is a net that has 2 different handles. One's a wading staff, and one is just clips on your back, much shorter. So you could do either one. And then it has 4 interchangeable basket sizes, which I think he could explain right now. And he's also going to give a special code for Mayhem members. So if you're looking for a net that handles everything, here is Jerry Hicks back on the NJ Multi-Species podcast with the net. Jerry, welcome back. And the net that 60 episodes ago was just something that came from imagination is now a real thing. And I have the prototype, and it has a sticker on it that says the Santiago System, which is so cool. I think I have the only one that says that, possibly. But yeah, the net is now real. Jerry, welcome back. You want to tell us exactly what's going on with NetTrek? I know you're very excited about the release of this net.
Sure, Joe, thanks a lot. Happy to be here again. And you're right. It was somewhere around November that toward the end of our last discussion, you made that suggestion or demand that you didn't want to buy all these nets to take care of your multi-species adventures. So you mentioned it in November. I dreamt about it in December. And in January, I started building prototypes. So that's the quick sequence. But today it's out there. And I mean, I'm taking orders. The website is being tweaked. NetTrek.com is being tweaked, but it is available for pre-order. I expect to start shipping 8/1, maybe a little earlier. But the essence is right. You said to me, I could be fishing for bluegills with the kids in the morning, and I could be fishing for muskie or northern or big steelhead in the afternoon. So to go through that, it's real simple. This is your bluegill net. You know, this is one you would love to buy, but it comes with different handles, and it can get a little expensive. You start collecting these things. So I started with this net, thinking of your bluegill fishing, and I started with a handle, thinking about being telescopic in nature, like the other nets are, but making it interchangeable. So that leads to this. A simple cam lock is what locks you in place. There's an adapter, which you need for some nets, but not others. In this case, you simply take the handle, plug it in, and it snaps together. It happens in seconds. This is a close-up. You might think of it like an umbrella connector. It's those little buttons that hold an umbrella kind of together,
Right,
pretty sturdy.
And
So
I
you
do
start-
have one. I have field tested. It comes in two pouches, and once I throw these two pouches in the back of my truck, I have a net for everything. And when me and Chuck go on these crazy road trips where we start off in the morning going for an 11-inch redfin pickerel and end up in the Mullica River fishing for 40-inch striped bass, I simply click one button and change the basket net. And yeah, it does everything in one net. It is amazing. It's amazing to see the imagination of it actually come to real life. Like, I'm fascinated by it now.
Yeah,
there it is. There's the
fun.
giant one.
Yeah, this is the waiting staff. So in my general concept of being a net provider, I try to think of giving you everything you need, not just a net. So Joe has homage to Joe Santiago. There are 2 Santiago kits, pre-configured nets. One is the deluxe. That's got it all. It's got all 4 nets. It's got the handles. It's got everything you need. It's got carabiners. It's got forceps, multiple feet, grips. It's got it all. And the next one is what I call the core, the Santiago core. It has the 2 most popular nets, medium and large, both handles, the wading staff and the telescopic handle, whether that's a wader or a shore fisherman or kayaker, boater, floater, I call them. So those 2 pre-configured Santiago kits are there. But as I started to think about how many options this is and what people might like, I finally just decided, let them build their own. So there's a build your own section. You can pick the handle you want. You can pick the net you want. You can pick accessories if you want. You can pick anything you want. But you know going in that when you take that next trip and you want to go fishing for bigger trophy fish or somehow an alpine trout, you can buy the extra net head. We ship it to you. You put it right on. It's completely interchangeable.
So you'd be able to do that later on. If you started off with just one basket, maybe a year later, you say, you know what, I'd like to have the bigger basket, and you could just get the bigger basket. So you could piece this together over time. I was fortunate enough to get one from Jerry, and it is amazing. I love it. And I do show it off. I've been stopped by people while I'm fishing asking me, what net is that? And I think they've ordered it from you and said, I've seen Joe using it.
Your word gets out. There's nothing better than the word of mouth of a good fisherman. You know, I can advertise and put everything I want up on the website, but like you, when I'm in the field, I'm fishing, people look at it, handle it, and that's the sale right there. I really don't have to say much once they get their hands on it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna have
had
to pick
stopped.
one of these up. My original NetTrek lives in the Raritan now.
Oh.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you lost yours, so yeah,
Which
you're gonna
did
have
you
to buy
have,
another
Kevin?
one.
Which did you have?
Oh, which one?
You
What was the
remember?
name of the
Was it
one
The
we
flip
had,
and
Joe?
dip.
Was it a waiting
I think you had to
staff
flip
or-
it.
Yeah.
He had the
and
flip and dip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna work with you guys. So talk to Joe, maybe borrow one. He's got enough to make, 2 nets at the drop of a hat because he's got hands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
could
true.
make. You actually have enough parts to have 2 complete nets at one time if you use the one handle and the wading staff. You could have 2 separate nets, and the goat grip handle actually makes it really easy to pass it off to someone else if you had to. There's the goat grip right there. It's unbelievable as a wading staff. I was actually using this net on the Hackensack River. I was trout fishing, and I was using the much smaller one on the wading staff, and I had stopped at the Hackensack River on the way home, and I switched because I was then fishing for striped bass, and I had popped it off and popped the giant size basket on for a striped bass, and a guy fishing there immediately saw me and said, "What is that? What are you doing?" And I showed it to him, explained it to him. I think he ordered one almost right away. You shipped it to him before you left for vacation, which was cool because I did tell him, like, you better order it right now because Jerry's going away. So if you don't order it now, you won't have it in time.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
It's a solid piece. I get reviews all the time. I'll just tell you one quick story I got in the mail the other day. A guy just, this is not an unusual tale, but for folks like me who are getting a little bit older and maybe our knees aren't quite the same, we really want that wading staff, that third point of contact for secure footing on rocky shores and slippery waters. And he just told me a great story. I won't bore you with it, but essentially he considered it the thing that saved him. He could have slipped and fallen down. He could have gotten in the water. He could have flooded his waders, but none of that happened. And he was convinced it's just because he was able to prop himself up and get out of that difficult spot because of the staff.
I mean, yeah, it could be a lifesaver, realistically, especially I've fallen and been hurt pretty badly not using a wading staff. And I understand, Jerry, that there is a NJ multi-species discount code.
Bingo.
If you buy it, there is, right?
Yeah, NJMP, New Jersey Multi-Species Podcast, number 10. NJMP 10.
There you go, Kevin. So you could get 10% off.
There we go.
You can buy a handle and any part you want.
I have to wish you the best of luck with this net. I really hope that it goes far. It should. It's the only one of its kind. I've actually done some research on the computer. Nothing else like this does exist. They want you to buy 8 nets. There are no interchangeable basket nets like this. It's the only one.
That's
and
right.
I just have to wish you the best of luck with it. I think it's really awesome. Everything I've used it for field testing so far has been great. I know I made one mistake with it, and I broke one handle because I did not put it together correctly, and I tried to scoop a pike with it. Well, actually, Chuck tried to scoop a pike up with it and snapped it, but it has a clear visible stop line on it before the cam lock, and I obviously went past that and broke the net. But yeah, that got replaced.
Things happen, and we're going to help you out, But listen, I do want to mention we're going to debut the physical product. We're in Fly Fest 2026, which is a Fly Fish International show in Redding, California, at the end of September. We're industry partners with Fly Fishers International, and we have a lot of things going on with them, but among them, we're debuting the whole series at the September show. So you're bound to start to see more publicity on it.
And the best way is really to see the net in person, like you said. It's very hard to explain. But if you do go to NetTrek's website, he has the wizard. The wizard actually asks you questions. You answer the questions, and it tells you exactly which net is the best for you to buy. I used it, and it kind of did work exactly perfectly. It told me it recommended the flip and dip, I think 20-inch for me. It works good. You could just click
the flex might not be on there. My web guy's working on updates as we speak. But the flex is in the system. You can go to the shop button, it'll say flex, and you can walk through. Don't get confused. There's a lot of product in small spaces. So I sent Joe copies of some of the visuals that are on the website. So it's not just a simple picture of a net. It tells a story about the series and the components. So take a moment to study it, and we're going to try to make it easier every step of the way.
I want to ask you one last question before you go. I have to know, because if I had created something like that, I guess it would be the norm that you're planning on eventually someone's going to knock it off, correct? Is that going to make you angry?
Well, I'm not sure that that's going to happen. There are several things one needs to do for protection, and I've done them. It's a trademark product, and it's a patent pending product on the entire family. So there is that going on. But is it going to make me angry? I wouldn't be happy.
You actually have the patent on a net that has an interchangeable basket?
Yeah, that is the whole flex system. A patent has been filed. Now they take time to get all this stuff done, but all the documentation that was filed in about, I want to say February or March, Joe. As soon as I had continued discussion with you and saw that this was really real, this potential could be realized, and how important it might be, because like you said, there's nothing else like it in the world. It just doesn't exist. And so I said, well,
so cool.
I better patent this. That's all we did.
That's so cool. All right, Jerry, before we let you go, do you want to say that discount code one more time? Because I'm sure people forgot it already. And I will post it also, the discount code.
No problem. You go to NetTrek.com. That's NET, 1 T, 2 Ks, NETREKK.com. And at checkout, you use the coupon code NJMP10, New Jersey Multi-Species Podcast, 10% off.
That's awesome. Jerry, I have to thank you for stopping on here again, taking time out of your night. I know you're in a much different time zone. I wish you the best of luck at those shows, and I hope that this net is a great success. We're going to help you as much as we can. We're currently saltwater fishing mostly right now, but in the fall we will get back to fishing on foot and using our NetTrek nets again. So we will be posting content and helping out as much as we can. And I wish you the best of luck.
Likewise,
nice
buddy.
Talking to you, Jerry.
Here. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Kev.
Talk soon, brother.
Well,
Evan, are you jealous that there's a net named after me now? Because that's cool. Like, that's all. There's a net named after me. How cool is that shit?
I'm going to do my best to not show everyone how much it's bugging me.
It is probably driving you crazy. But yeah, I mean, I would have never imagined there'd be a net like that. And it's the multi-species system. It is so cool. I show it to my wife. She doesn't really care, but I'm like showing her the sticker and stuff that says Santiago on it. I'm switching the baskets. But yeah, this has been a really long episode.
Joe, we got a special message that came in. We got a picture to go live of our good buddy Kim.
Oh, there's Kim. There's Kim with her tuna. So there is Kim with the bluefin tuna that she got called and went out for. She told us, she almost guaranteed that she was going to have a tight line. And there it is. We are so proud of her. Kim, congratulations.
Is that normal to get like
listening.
that bloody fishing?
Yeah, tuna fish are very bloody. And also, they all... Oh, Deuce is throwing up. Is your mic live, Deuce, or are you just in my ear?
Live.
I never know.
I'm live.
But yeah, they have to bleed the tuna out almost immediately to keep the meat good. But yeah, they do get bloody, and there's Kim covered in blood. Congratulations, Kim, on that ghost inshore bluefin. That's so cool. And she told us she was going. That's why she's not here. She's out there doing it. Apparently, I just got a text message that she got the entire thing on film in the right aspect ratio. So I'm extra proud of her. So I will be releasing the video of her catching this bluefin tuna. I'm going to work on it specifically before Max's shark video that he keeps breaking my balls to make. But congratulations, Kim. That's an awesome picture. We will be posting that. Like I said, Fast Eddie's fundraiser is still up on Mayhem. The wheel spin is Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Someone is going to win a Yeti cooler. And I have to thank you to everyone who donated, because the outpouring of support to Fast Eddie so far has been unbelievable. We're going to be donating a very nice chunk of money to Fast Eddie's mother, who will be giving it to the charity that Fast Eddie will be walking for on the 26th. A lot of people writing congratulations to Kim, Dave Aw, Fast Eddie. Yeah, really proud of Kim today. Really awesome. The Gambler, like I said, August 22nd, 7 p.m. The tickets are now available on the Gambler's website. Another exciting fact of this trip, Chris Lito will not be working. He's going fishing with us, which is going to be awesome. Every Gambler trip we've done so far, Chris Lito has always worked as the mate. On this night Mayhem trip, he will be fishing with us. He has the night off. He may even be bringing his daughter. And like I said, we're going to try to put food together. And Kevin, you know that's going to get a little crazy, because 7 p.m. launch gives us the entire day to pregame. So a lot of us will be stumbling onto the boat by that time.
Yeah, my family knows I have to wake up early to fish that trip.
Right.
I'll be down there.
And
I'll be down there
it's
for
a Saturday
Bloody
night. The next day is Sunday. You don't have to do anything. I think Thomas Wyatt's coming. Thomas Wyatt's always been impossible to get to go on the salt with me. I believe he bought a ticket. So we will be fishing with Thomas Wyatt too. 8 Ball already bought a ticket. Captain Dom will be there. Hats off again to Captain Dom for a phenomenal job on Saturday in the Fluke tournament. We had such a fun day with him. I can't say enough. And like I said, the outpouring of support from the community to Fast Eddie's fundraiser has been unbelievable. Can't thank everyone enough. It's kind of overwhelming just to see how much the community really pulls together when you ask for help like this. It's a great fishing community, and you could still join Multi-Species Mayhem. Kevin is the president. You could still join at any time for only $35. We are having a pig roast / barbecue September 26th. All members are welcome to come, and I believe you could bring a guest for, I think it's $30, Kevin, to bring a guest.
$30 to bring a guest. Yep. And if you want to join, you're having trouble finding the app or the link, just shoot me a message on Facebook, Instagram, or text me if you have it, and I'll make sure we get you set up.
Kevin will help you. I will work on Kim's tuna fish video and get it out as soon as possible. I'm sure we'll have pictures up either tomorrow or the next day. But yeah, congratulations to Kim. Congratulations to Jerry Hicks on the net. A lot of big news here. Deuce, who is the guest for next week?
Next week we have American Hooker. That's what it says.
American Hooker Tackle. Yeah. I believe he's sponsoring the pig roast, isn't he? He's one of the sponsors of the pig roast. Yeah, he is. American Hooker Tackle be here. He makes really awesome all kinds of shit, especially his hoodies. I love his hoodies. I'm going to try to finagle him out of a free one when he comes on here. Dave Law just said, I don't want Kevin talking about any kind of apps or links. A lot of people have some animosity towards Kevin.
Show us on the doll where the app hurt you, Dave.
Dave All was unfortunately very under the weather and had to be hospitalized with pneumonia. But I believe he is doing better. I was sick as hell too. That's why there was no podcast last week. Dave, stop smoking cigarettes. No more cigarettes. You buy a vape or something. But I believe he is getting out of the hospital. I hope, Dave, that you get home and take me flathead catfishing soon, because if you go on Dave Oz page and look at his last trip out, he had a phenomenal night. Him and his buddy I think Dave got a 31-something pound flathead, and they got multiple fish and multiple species, a giant channel cat. So Dave is doing his usual thing, the king of the river over there. And like I said, Eric Fissler now moved into the top 10 in multi-species mayhem with those stripers, fin seekers there. So a lot of bullets flying from those Delaware River guys. And yeah, multi-species mayhem rolls on. We still have the real yak that hasn't been given away yet. That's the grand finale, and we know we end everything with the Christmas party. And the pig roast is at the same place the Christmas party is, only it's going to be outside on the field that the Elks calls the Grove. So yeah, we're looking forward to all that. Kim is actually working on an event. NJMultispecies.com. There's going to be a new tab soon, event calendar, and we're going to have a list of dates of all the events that we're having because, it's starting to get a little confusing to follow when all this shit is. So we're working on that. We have all kinds of stuff in the works. Congratulations to everyone I congratulated. We will be back with American Hooker Tackle next week. And Kevin, thank you so much for filling in for Kim. You really helped us out, and she was able to get that tuna fish because you were able to cover for her. Or I would have yelled at her and told her she ain't allowed to go tuna fishing. She would have had to do the podcast. I'm wearing my 8-ball shirt too. There it is, like 8-ball. Boom.
Yeah, one of these days I'll have more than 2-hour notice before I have to host.
She owes you big now. You got to tell her. As soon as we get off, you have to text her. She owes you big. You covered for her. She got the bluefin. Now she owes you a bluefin. She got to take you now. But thank you to everyone for the outpouring of support. If you still want a chance to win the Fast Eddie Yeti cooler, go on multispeciesmayhem.com. It's $20 a chance. And we will be back next week. Kevin, you have to say suffer for the fish, and then the show's over.
Suffer for the
Dave Law
fish.
said outstanding job.